welcome to My Hero Academia, chapter 337 review. This chapter is titled, A Disposable Life. Now, last chapter, we got the massive revelation that Todoroki is getting better at controlling both of his sides, and not just the ice side, but the fire side too. And that Aoyama is the UA traitor. I think Todoroki's more of a big deal, bigger character, more important, but, so, we have to go through this plot point. So, this chapter starts off where chapter 335 ended, with Dobby saying to All For One, "Friends to spare, huh? Aren't we screwed if one of your friends gets caught?" All For One then says, "Not in the least. Say your 100 yen lighter fizzles out. What would you do? When my friends succeed, I rejoice. Should they fail, I think, oh, what a shame, and after that brief bit of disappointment, I set to move on to the next viable route in my plan. They're less like friends and more like disposable tools. And I say hip hip hooray for any slight excitement they can inflict." And we didn't cut back to Deku and Aoyama in the woods in Hagakure. You may have forgot she was here, but, as Yuga's parents, or Aoyama's parents, make him run away and say, "Run away, Yuga," as Deku goes, "Hold on," as Aoyama thinks, "Mama, Papa, being quirkless caused you no small amount of dismay. Both of you came from wealthy, privileged families and never wanted anything for your own upbringings. And the two of you fretted over my being different from the other children, even more than I do. That's why, hoping against all hope and wishing only for my happiness, they say you can give quirks to others. You dared to believe a dubious rumor." And the rumor was that quirks can be given to others. And Aoyama still thinks, "I suffered at the hands of my new quirk, which was not fit for my body, while you, Mama, and Papa grappled with your own angst as you raised me, because you feared me so being different. My own dream sprang from that desire to conform. Yes, at some point, I hope to give back to you too as much as you had done for me." As we see All For One then talking to Aoyama when Aoyama was younger, and says, "So you will be attending UA. They say All Might has been hired to teach at the school. Inform me when your class is going to be isolated. Tell me the location of your training camp. Now that Izuku Midoriya has returned to UA, lure him somewhere alone." As we think of Aoyama just going, acting in service of others, in pursuit of their happiness, giving of myself for everyone else's sake, as he thinks and cries more, and he finally says out loud, "That note you left, when I learned that, like me, you were born quirkless, I fell into utter despair," as Deku yells, "Quit it, Aoyama!" as Aoyama starts to say, "Navel," and Deku goes, "One for all," and Aoyama finishes his sentence, "Navel laser," and he shoots his Deku, not before Hagakure jumps in the way, and Deku, with his full cowling activated, starts to jump up, and we didn't see Hagakure, and Hagakure says, "My body lets me refract light," and as she just divert laser beam, she says, "We could have been killed time after time, and now all of Japan is totally messed up. What was going through your head the whole time in school with us? Living in the dorms with us even? Well, say something, Aoyama," as we sort of get a glimpse of what Hagakure looks like. Read the chapter if you want to see. We sort of get like just one half of her face. Her mouth is open, and you see she's crying. She obviously doesn't have a shirt on. So, and her hair, being this is manga, it's just white. It doesn't have like any shaders to it, or any shade on in it, so it could easily be any color, but it's not colored in, so it's probably white. But yeah, we see her face a bit. And then Aoyama's parents say, "You've done nothing wrong, my dear," as Deku gets the blackwhip out, and ties Aoyama up and ties his parents up. And then Deku says, listen, Aoyama, Hagakure. And he says, listen, Aoyama, Hagakure just did you a favor. She doesn't want you hurting anyone else, okay? And Deku says, so come on, enough. Let's stop this. Just let this be over, as we can tell that Deku is crying too. Then we cut into a conference room somewhere in UA. And we see Tsukuyuchi's there, along with Principal Nezu. And Tsukuyuchi says, I got the gist of it. And he says, he gave the boy a quirk and took control of the family. The quirk was granted about a decade ago. The fact that kid's still sitting here in one piece tells us that he's not rigged to blow up in case of betrayal the way Nagant was. And Principal Nezu says, may I ask you children to leave the room? And Todoroki says, no, you may not. As we see Kaminari go, this makes no freaking sense. And we just go through a few of the characters here. We see Ojiro saying, what were you planning if Hagakure hadn't caught you? Kirishima going, come on, Aoyama, tell us it's all bullcrap, dude. And Bakugo saying, Naruto ones who started out quirkless, small world, huh? As we see Aoyama still crying, and Tsukiyuchi says, sadly, we're still struggling to restore law and order. So you need to tell us every last thing you know about All for One. And his Aoyama's father says, we know nothing. He makes his request and we obey, that's all. Should we fail, he'll kill us. If we lie to him, we're dead. Tsukiyuchi says he'll kill you. And Aoyama says, he gave us a demonstration of what happens to those who defy him. It was some lackey who surrendered to the police. They were killed soon after leaving prison, so they couldn't escape him. Wherever we run, he'll find us and make us face our doom. Yuga had no way of knowing what would happen. Each time he followed those orders, he only knew he mustn't fall under suspicion. We're the ones to blame. As we also see he's thinking, what was going through this whole time in school with us? As Aoyama just thinks on it. And he thinks, your deaths could have very well been on my head, but I found myself smiling alongside you all, as if we were truly friends. Then we learned Midori was also once quirkless, yet he faces a crushing task of standing up to All for One. I despaired when I realized how pathetic I am compared to him. Rather than express concern for Midoriya, I wallowed in my own misery, which sent me spiraling even deeper. To the core, I'm rotten. I, Yuga Aoyama, am a villain through and through. And Deku screams at this second and says, oh yeah? Then why did you try to save Kanchan and Tokoyami back in the forest? Whenever, this was back in volume 9 of the manga, I don't know, chapter-wise, this was during the training camp arc, and Tokoyami was raging all around, being in the dark, and Bakugo's being kidnapped by the League of Villains. So, Aoyama followed the naval laser, sort of, to calm down Tokoyami's dark shadow and all of that. But that's the point of that. And then Deku also says, and the cheese you left me that night. Did All for One order you to do that too, huh? And the cheese pieces said, I know. And Deku says, of course not. I'm kicking myself for not realizing that was your SOS to me. And the reason you're bawling your eyes out now clearly isn't because you failed All for One. I happen to know a hero who got manipulated by him, as he thinks to Nagant. And he says, but even she didn't sell her whole soul. Her spirit was crushed. That's all. As All Might goes, Midoriya, kid. And he's thinking, if only I'd known, things would have worked out differently, which is a big thing of this series. But Midoriya says, doing you wrong doesn't make you a villain for the rest of your life. Take my hand, Aoyama. And Bakugo says, if nothing else, we can choose how we enter this fight. And Bakugo says, Deku, I get it now. Well, he doesn't say that, but he thinks it after thinking about who said that earlier. I don't remember, and I didn't do my research. I know I'm bad at reviewing this stuff. But Deku says, you can still be a hero to Aoyama, which And that's the end of the chapter. Now, this chapter sets up the thing that I think all of us were saying, that no matter who the traitor was, as long as it was not like Hagakure or Sato or somebody who had literally no character to him, or Koda, who we know a few things about, like their quirk, and that's about it. As long as they were like somebody and not one of the off-cast of Class 1A, that they would probably be coming back to the side of good after this fight. Because Aoyama he's obviously been an established character, so I expect here in the next few chapters for him to become a good guy again. That's all I gotta say about this chapter. I have to say, best part of this chapter, I think, was just Tsukiyuchi just going through everything that happened and recalling it. And probably Kirishima going, "Tell us it's all bullcrap, dude." And yeah, Aoyama's never been one of my favorite characters, so I don't really care about this. But yeah, thank you for watching. This is Glowplasma231